The bank is open, presented by Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy, Matt Mcafee, Brian versus the Books, breaking down the NBA slate. Brian, Matt, what's up, boys? Before we get to the games, it's been sort of a newsy last few days with Dame scoring 71, LeBron getting hurt. OKC looks like they might pull the plug. Brian, anywhere you want to go here, just general thoughts here this last week or so since we've come back from the All-Star break.
I mean, my general thought is it's funny that you can have a bad 2-day stretch in the West and you can go from a 4 seed to a out of the playoff picture right now. It's kind of funny how close that is. But yeah, in that regard, I do think that it was a little interesting in terms of major news is LeBron James injury, where you kind of, you make the trade, you get rid of Russ, you kind of go all in with this new look team, and you can maybe make a push in such a close West race just for LeBron to get hurt and kind of ends all hope. Not really, but in a way, it kind of seems like that for the Lakers that may have been able to make a push. Only half game out of the play-in, but after that injury, he's going to be out, 4 weeks, I think I saw at least. Reevaluate after 2 weeks. It kind of just puts a big halt on everything the Lakers are hoping to try to do late in the season.
And Matt and I think Nick were high in the Lakers and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this team is good. They're going to be in the play-in. And I was like, not so fast. I just don't trust them. I think we were both right because if they were to stay healthy, they were heading in the right direction, like getting Russ off the team, getting Vanderbilt. They were going in the right direction. My whole thing was, I just don't trust LeBron and Davis. It's amazing. These guys, LeBron and Davis can't play like 5 games straight together. They can't play for a week, 2 weeks. And LeBron, since he's been a Lakers, basically had a major injury every year except the bubble. He's missed a large portion of the time. And look, it's part of being 38. But Matt, what are your general thoughts here just this last week since we got back?
Yeah, it was a shame because I think they would have gotten the 6th spot. You look at their schedule, and it was pretty darn easy down the stretch. They had a huge run of games at home, and like we mentioned, I won't keep going to the what ifs, but it was always about the what if they could stay healthy. And sure enough, like a non-contact, LeBron just kind of tweaks his foot and. That's being 38. So, weird stuff happens. It's a shame because I did think they had potential. I think they could have beaten several teams. I think they could have beaten the Nuggets in a playoff series. I think they could have beaten the Grizzlies in a playoff series and things like that. Like, I think their ceiling was definitely Western Conference Finals or even the finals. I don't think they would have had enough to beat Boston or Milwaukee, but yeah, now you kind of have to throw that out. I think the Mavs can exhale a little bit, like, whew, okay, we'll be all right. But you can see the Mavs. I mean, they're going to need to shoot the lights out to win a series. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're holding a Clippers ticket, you're feeling good. If you're holding a Suns ticket, you're feeling good now because I think this might mean the Lakers miss the playoffs.
I think Willie has a few Clippers tickets. I think he's got a few futures in the Clippers.
Yeah. I know Will's got some. I talked him into it, beat him into submission with the Clippers, and I think they could do it, man. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it has opened up, and I just don't know who one of these teams is going to sneak in somehow. That's not that good. So that'll help. It'll be an easy pass for the Nugs into the second round, like whoever they get.
I was watching ESPN the other, might have been yesterday, which I never do. I may have seen it on Twitter. I think that's what it was, where they asked. There's 4 people. I forget the panel. Nobody to I'm not a huge fan of any of those people, the ex-players and the host, whatever. They asked 4 people, Lakers Nuggets series right now. Who'd you pick? They all picked the Lakers. To me, that's a little far-fetched. I don't know. I mean, look, we're probably not going to see it come to fruition, but to me, Denver's being a little bit disrespected. I know you can question their defense, their bench, but that's a good home court. Jokic is, I mean, I don't know. That to me, that was a little far-fetched. But like I said, probably not going to come to fruition. Should we get to the games tonight?
Yeah, but say there's a lot of games going on,
a lot of games. Let's get to them. Let's get through them. The Lakers, the aforementioned Lakers are getting 9 in Memphis. I would lean towards taking the points here. I think this might be a little bit of an overreaction. Brian, start us off here. Lakers and Grizz, what you like?
Yeah, this is an interesting game because it is a higher spread. But man, as much as we like to hate on the Grizzlies, they are so good at home. I mean, they're 25-5 at home, and they cover the spread a lot at home. So I guess if you're looking to back the Lakers, you're just hoping it's an overreaction and they can rally behind a guy like LeBron. But yeah, I was looking at, like, I think this is a game where John Morant could go off. I think if he finds a shot, because he's been shooting awful the last few games, where I mean, I watched him against my Sixers, and I actually took his points against my Sixers, and he was missing bunnies. I mean, he was missing from 8 feet out, 6 feet out. If he can find a shot, I think it's a spot for the Grizzlies to come back. But as you mentioned, 9 points in any game, it seems like a lot. And sometimes you get these spreads where you can get you can take the favorite and just hope they lay down and die, like a team like the Pistons or the Spurs, all these taking teams. But the Lakers are a team where they're gonna have to fight every minute, every second to try to get any wins. So you can also pray for that too. If it is like a 12-point game late, they'll still be playing high intensity, trying to get claw back in. So I do think this would be a fun game to watch. But if it was anything less than 9, I would probably back the Grizzlies. But that 10-point threshold is kind of on that that teetering spot for me.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I liked a lot of what you said about Ja. Obviously, his shot, he needs to have a consistent shot if they're going to do anything in the postseason. Teams will just pack the paint and dare him to shoot a three from the top of the key. And if he can't do that with any consistency, that I think the Grizzlies can be a fade in the playoffs. But for this game tonight, yeah, how do the Lakers respond? Are they flat? Like it's a tough one for me. Part of me thinks human instinct's there will be that natural like, oh man, like, but then maybe you get just a guy like Malik Beasley gets to jump in there and shoot 12 threes tonight and keep him in the game somehow.
Yeah.
So I think there is some value with trying to find the players on the Lakers who are going to take those LeBron minutes. For ball handling and things like that. Dennis Schroeder, obviously, I don't love playing assists against Memphis just because they're so crazy defensively. Like they'll foul you at the rim. And so many guys miss a layup at the rim because somebody, whether it be Vanderbilt or not Vanderbilt, but Triple J or Brandon Clark will just bear hug you and not let you finish up there. So I think Schroeder, he might have a nice game, 7 or 8 assists, something like that should be in play. But I think I will target Beasley threes probably just because I think they're going to need it. And then 80 rebounds, he should have a field day.
Yeah.
Still no Adams. I mean, yeah, the Grizzlies don't shoot it great outside of Bane when he's hot, and so I think we could be looking at a really nice rebound game for him. It's 12 and a half, so it's so high. There's not a lot of room to climb, but I mean, I think you could see a 15-16 rebound game for Davis.
Yeah,
tonight.
someone in the chat mentioned who's going to stop Anthony Davis. I actually had that same question when I was looking at props this morning, but I don't know about you, but 27 and a half is his points line. Like that's one of those things where it doesn't matter who's going to stop him. That's such an over adjustment. I think like, can he score 30? Yeah. But sometimes I think when someone is out like LeBron, everyone's like, oh, well, Anthony Davis answers the call, which of course, but 27 and a half is just like, I mean, he can have a 26-16 game and you still lose if you take that over in points. So I'm probably laying off any AD props in terms of points because it's just so over adjusted, I think.
He's so inconsistent too. If you're gonna play him, like take a ladder to take an adjusted point total because his highs and lows are just so dramatic.
Yeah.
Moving on though, that was good on the first game. Bucks laying 6.5 in Brooklyn against the Nets. Nets lost a tough one against Atlanta. They got buried by the Bulls. Matt, you played an under adjusted season win total on the Nets, which is off to a good start here. Do we know if Giannis is playing? I haven't seen any.
Dude, this guy will not probable. He will not take a day off to rest up, man. He is I mean,
so he's in tonight, or we're not sure.
He's probably trendy, like he's going to play. Like I mean,
he even started the All-Star game. This guy is not even trying to rest, despite only playing 6 seconds. I'm not going to look at the rest of that. Yeah, I think he's going to play tonight.
I do too. I think what you should do, I think everybody just as a PSA, play a max unders Giannis ticket tonight. Just in case he goes out there and tweaks his knee or something's not feeling right. They're going to be obviously, use an abundance of caution with him. He's a machine. You may lose that bet in spectacular fashion, but just in case something's not quite right, he'll know it within the first, few minutes of the game. So I think everybody, if he does play, you should lock in a max unders on Giannis tonight, just in case.
Yeah, I think it's funny because when I saw the Giannis open at 29.5, my mind went to, wow, he always destroys the Nets. It's just like kind of one of his things. And then, as you said, I don't know if I could just touch either side of him tonight because if he is feeling good, this is a matchup he could destroy. But health is wealth, and that's what it comes down to in NBA betting. Is that sometimes the best play is no play if you don't think he's going to be fine. So I looked at his over projection wise, had him all the way over, but the health side of it's probably going to keep me away from any props in this game.
Yeah, we don't have alt lines yet, but right now, if you just take under 29.5, under 11.5 boards, and under 5.5 assists, it's plus 481. Like right now, and then you could even, like, I know like Alan and Nick like to throw a money line in. The Bucks should have enough to get past them anyway. That doubles it. It's 820 when you throw the Bucks money line in. They've shown they can win without him.
Right.
The Nets are really bad, like really bad right now. So unless Cam Johnson can hit like 5 or 6 threes, Bridges, then they'll need a bunch from him tonight too. I just, oh man, I think they're gonna tumble. They're gonna really tumble here. Because yeah, I don't know, but you could throw the Nets in too on the other side and get 13-39 if you want to do it that way and just kind of split your wager. But I am going to lock in the Giannis max unders. I think there's value on it tonight.
Yeah, and I would push back a little bit on the Nets being really bad. I think I'm a little higher on them than you are. I think they just have a bunch of okay players, which, look, you're not winning anything. You're not going anywhere with that. But just night to night, you can win a lot of games if you got 7 or 8 okay players. Bridges is a good player. Clax is a good player. So, look, I don't like them to win this tonight. They're not going anywhere this season, but I think they can be frisky, and they're not one of these teams that's going to be resting superstars. They don't have any superstars to rest, so they might string together some wins here. They've got a bunch of okay players, but we're probably just
it's an interesting roster. I actually kind of like their roster.
It's a strange roster. It's not
I
terrible.
like
It doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of depth.
I don't know. The Hawks had him down 20, and they did claw back, and it did take Trey hitting a walk off. But I mean, the Chicago Bulls
that was a bad one.
About as average of a team as you can be, and I think they beat them they were up 50 points at one point in that game. Like,
I don't want to overreact to one game. I mean, it's just one game. And then they played okay the next game. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think they'll get thumped tonight, for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked again.
And then they run into the Knicks and the Celtics after that. Like,
they're in good shape.
Yeah. Hopefully.
All right. Anything else on this one before we move on?
No, I want to hear your thoughts on the Bulls Raptors game. Will, that's what we were talking about beforehand.
Bulls Raptors. I don't know why you want to hear my thoughts. I don't think this game's very interesting. Two of these teams sort of clawing for the play in here. You can start us off. I don't have a play on this game. I'm probably not going to watch this.
I'm not gonna touch it, but I think it's kind of an interesting like preview of what we could see come play in time. But yeah, I leaned the Raptors in this game only because, as Matt beautifully worded, that the Bulls are one of the most average teams out there. I mean, yeah, they add a superstar like Pat Bev at the deadline, but other than that, they really haven't done much. But yeah, like, it's one of those things. The Bulls have just struggled a lot on the road, and the Toronto is just a team I usually like to back at home. But I do lean the Raptors at -5 here. I just think that, especially with the Bulls, I mean, like you talk about this, you give an average team an 80-point win, maybe they get a little too high on themselves and this and that, and then they get a team like the Raptors that actually lock down and play defense. So I do think that there's a game where I like the under in this, and I do think the Raptors have a good matchup for this game.
Raptors sitting at the 9 seed, 30-32. Bulls 28-33. Right there is the 11. The Wizards are in between them. The Raptors have quietly won 4 out of 5. It hasn't been overly impressive. 2 of those wins are against the Pistons. It hasn't been great, but the Raptors have more talent than I think they showed the first part of the year. So maybe they're playing a little better. Matt, anything on this game before we move on?
With Van Vliet back in, I think this could be a fun game where, like, I'm on your guys' side, obviously, with the Raptors. I think they'll handle their business here. What I do think, though, is I like Van Vliet assists. With Caruso and Beverly, like, kind of in his face, I think he'll look to facilitate. And I think there's plenty of guys like OG and Gary Trent and Siakam and stuff who can knock down some shots, especially at home, familiar rims. So yeah, Van Vliet assists probably be my look in this one.
All right. And the Raptors, look, if they got in, they could be annoying to a team. They could take, I don't know, Milwaukee or Boston to like, I don't know, 6. They're not gonna take them to 7 or win, but they probably wouldn't get swept. They could be at least competitive, the Raptors. So Raptors laying 4.5 there. Another Eastern Conference battle between two of these teams, sort of on the play-in fringe. The Hawks have played better. They got a new coach. Very strange that a coach would come in with like 18 games left in a season. All right, guys, I'm here. I'm going to run the team from now on. Very odd. I can't quite remember something happening this late where he's a full-term solution. But Hawks laying 7 to the Wizards. Matt, start us off here for this one.
I mean, so Porzingis is out. Morris is out. So Washington will be interesting. Does DeLon Wright come in and get starting point guard minutes? Does Beal play point guard? Kuzma obviously is always a good target sometimes for, especially with Porzingis out. I think Kuzma rebounds enter the fray here. Advia is another guy that's just kind of weird. Like they're going to share the ball a lot. I don't know. It's to me. I have more questions than answers here. So when that tends to be the case, I tend to just kind of pivot off of it. But yeah, what do you think, Brian?
Yeah,
this is Atlanta, I guess.
It's so funny because I'm happy he went to you for this game, because this is a game I probably won't even tune in. I have like 2 or 3 screens, probably not going to tune into it. In terms of props, without Porzingis, I just don't see myself really playing anything in this game. I actually, even though it's the Wizards, even though it's the Hawks who play no defense, I was going to look into like Bradley Beal props, and then he's listed at 25.5, and that's not touching that. Like, there's just too many props in this game where I tried to like half sell myself on, and I just probably am going to just, sometimes I mentally check off a game on a slate, and this is probably one of them where I'll just kind of accept that there's better games on and move on.
Yep, totally with you. Nuggets against the future world champion Houston Rockets, who are just a dreadful basketball team. They don't have any sort of interest in playing any sort of defense. They basically give up 120, 130 every time they touch the court. I'd probably look at an over here. I might end up with an over in my account now that I'm talking about it. Brian, start us off here. Nuggets, Rockets. What you got?
Yeah, this is another game where the only thing you can say with the Rockets is they don't play any defense, but they also play offense. Like, not, I don't want to say super well, but they play enough where they can kind of stay into games. Like, they're not a team where I'm overly worried that it's going to be like a Nets game where they're down 50 and no one plays, because I do think their offensive abilities can keep them at least a little bit close, where it can still keep props a little bit available. Honestly, sadly, the only prop I really had circles here was I was looking at Sengun's under in points, but it dropped from 17.5 to 15.5 randomly, along with Jalen Green dropped 2 points, and that kind of gives me an inkling that Porter would be in. Porter Jr. was in shoot around, and everyone on the team dropped 2 points on every single prop. So I feel like those unders I was looking at is just totally gone. Once an under drops 2 points, you really can't even give it a look, because like, you missed out on the entire good line. But I wanted to play Jokic over 23.5 points, but the problem with Jokic's points is that he has these games where sometimes he'll shoot the ball 3 times. Yep. And that's like my favorite look in this game is Jokic's over 23.5. But this is a game where they could be up, say 10 points, and he just racks up like 16 assists and then calls it a day and rest in the fourth quarter. So I don't know. It's one of those games where he gets so frustrated if you bet his points and you watch him shoot 4 for 4 and then never take another shot. And you're just sitting there hoping for a miracle, because he can just do so much on the court.
And he is fun to watch, though. I know he's, if you've got the points or whatever and he's passing the ball, it's one thing, but man, he is fun to watch.
Yeah, he does need to I think he could get a triple double in the first half here, like legitimately. If they're on it, and it looks like Gordon and Murray are both in, I think he's a legitimate chance to triple double in a half of basketball, which is crazy to say. But yeah, this could be. They're on the road, which I think that gives the Rockets a little bit of give them an extra couple points here, where they may just keep on playing. I do think Denver wins. I think they probably cover. It just because the Rockets just don't have enough to keep up with this team. So Sengun, he's I think he could get into foul trouble tonight guarding Jokic. So
Yeah.
I would be careful. I've seen a lot of people being excited. It's like baby Jokic versus Jokic right now with the Pokemon evolutions. He's the Charmander and Jokic is the Charizard. What Sabonis is the Charmeleon? Do I have that name right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I just think Sengun gets himself into some foul trouble here. And maybe sits out. So when Porter and Green are playing, they're chucking, they're having fun, they're running and gunning, and I think that's probably a good way to attack it because they'll get their 20 points or so. Probably chuck a lot of threes. I don't know, a lot of fun battles on the wings here with like Jabari Smith and Michael Porter Jr. I think that's kind of an exciting matchup. Gordon, I think, could get his if he's feeling right. This could be a nice Gordon game too. But I don't know. I just think Jokic triple double is the way to play it, man. He's in the it's at plus money right now, and like I said, I think we look at halftime and he's sitting on a stat line of like 8, 7, and 7, and you're just like, oh my god, like
lockdown. I was gonna say lockdown bets in the chat mentioned that it's plus money on Caesars, so I just wanted to put that out there. Which that's actually a look I was probably look at too because this sounds weird, but Jokic is also a guy where not saying he cares about stats, but averaging a triple double is just like wild for a season. That these kind of matchups, it almost seems like sometimes he doesn't really care as much about the points, but he just racks up these assists and these rebounds. And I'm not saying it's a way to bolster stats, but like, can you blame him if you get a matchup against the Rockets and you can just like decide to get 18 assists or whatever, like, and help that average out? It definitely is a spot where I think I would give it a look, especially at plus 116, which sounds so crazy as a triple double prop.
Yeah. And I mean, they're very aware of it. Michael Malone has talked about it in press conferences, how, he's going to break the record for a season by a center. They want him to average 10 and I think that would lock up the MVP, from what we've seen.
I think
you average a triple double, you're going to get it. So
average a triple double and be on the 1 seed, not
and a 1 seed, right?
Is that around on some 6 seed? Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't reading, I didn't need to pull up some history books here, but it was Oscar Robinson when he was averaging it.
That I don't know.
His team's the 1 seed.
That I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, different era of basketball, obviously.
Right.
Back then, but yeah, I think.
Plus, his efficiency's off the charts. It's not like he's chucking, taking 40 shots or boxing out his guys for rebounds like Westbrook was doing. I mean, it's a legit thing, and it's hard to call somebody selfish when they're getting assists. I know what you mean, like, oh, he's doing assists just for the triple doubles. Like, if he was scoring too much, like, oh, he's running up. Like, he's just a great player. I don't know.
Yeah, I just mean there is some times in these matchups where he takes like 3 shots, and it almost seems like he just understands that if Sengun's on him, I have 4 other teammates that probably are wide open, and he just takes advantage of it. And he almost just says, "Hey, I can get 20 assists because I can."
Plus, he's got guys like Gordon, guys that they have talent, but maybe they need a little confidence boost. Like, all right, man, I'm just going to get you open layups all day, and you're going to feel good about yourself, and we'll be better for that. So you can interpret that either way. But I think we can move on here. Second time in 3 days here, the Kings are in OKC to play the Thunder. Matt, it looks like you're going to be right here. The Thunder, SGA is not playing. I thought, why tank? You know what? I'm okay with tanking, but why do it now? You just went so far. But SGA is out again. Now it's health and safety protocols. Before it was an ankle. I would take the Kings here just because I don't know what you're getting out of the Thunder. Brian, you start us off here, Kings and Thunder. What do you like?
Yeah, I was giving this look too, where it's actually funny. Where I know De'Aaron Fox is also dealing with injury right now, but he did participate in shoot around. So if you believe that he's playing, I mean, they're getting 2.5 some books. I mean, this is gonna be a track meet, but the Kings are a team where if they're playing against the Thunder without SGA and Fox is healthy, I mean, I would lean towards the Kings in this scenario. I mean, outside the fact that they are away, I just think if it's gonna be 120 to 124, I think the Kings are just a team that is better off with that type of back and forth. But I did look at despite the fact there's no SGA, I mean, Jalen Williams, his points is 15.5. I gave that a look to the under, but as I mentioned, when you expect there to be 240 points in the game, it's always tough to kind of sell yourself on under. But despite depending on how the lineups look, Jalen Williams under 15.5 points is something I'm looking at.
And Kings plus 170. Did we lose McAfee?
Yeah, I think we did. So I just kind of moved on. RIP, but it's all
That's
right.
too bad. That's too bad. That means more money for us, so it's probably better.
Yeah.
Plus 170 to win the division still for the Kings. Is that something you'd be interested in?
I think they have a shot. I mean,
they play their guy. I mean, their guys are always healthy. The guys don't rest, so that's like a big part of it.
Yeah, no, I think there is a little bit. I do think it's funny because they're still 3 games up. Like I know the Suns get Kevin Durant, but
you're running out of games here, and it's not like Durant's going to come back and all right, we're going to play every day. They're going to ease him in. They're not going to like prioritize. Seeding.
I think Kevin Durant almost overvalues that market where it's a matter of it's not a matter of do the Suns need to be good. It means they need to be 4 games better than the Kings. So you'd also need the Kings to flop, and that's just one of those things where that's asking a lot for. It's not. This is the only situation you'll ever get a prop like this, at like almost plus 200 when they have a 3-game lead with like 18 games left.
It's crazy. It's worth a bet, I think. I mean, you have to worry about the Clippers too, but they just beat the Clippers. The Clippers have lost 2 in a row. I'd have to do a deep dive on the schedules before I actually fired on it, but maybe I would. I mean, to me, that's a bet on the Kings.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bet on the Kings just to not be 4 games below these other 2 teams, and we all know the Clippers. I mean, do they even care about winning the division at this point?
I don't think either teams do. I don't think either teams do. I'm trying to look.
I mean, the Clippers are so infamous for resting players that now they're talking about making like a 10-point overtime rule, so that way guys like Kawhi Leonard don't have to play longer. Did you see that? Like,
is that true?
There's like NBA Central posted like they might do like a overtime like first 2 rather than like 5-minute period, and in the article whatever it states like they mentioned the Kawhi Leonard by name after the overtime where it was saying that guys in the league of load management, like guys like Kawhi Leonard are now playing extra minutes or this and that, and I was like, are you serious, man? Like it's a 5-minute overtime.
I can't picture them doing a target score and like the Elam ending, but like if it were 2 or 3 minutes of overtime instead of 5, it does kind of kill the intensity sometimes when you have this great finish with the last like 30 seconds and then you go to an overtime and you have to go 5 more minutes. I could see 2-3 minutes. It's the same thing.
I guess it also changes it though, because my only devil's advocate there is that the last 2 or 3 minutes of a game are just so, like you said, high intensity where it's like 5 minutes is kind of a good, maybe 4 minutes, but something where you have to have something where if you just lay off the gas, you don't even deserve to be in that high intensity. Right. At the end again, I don't know. Like the game with the Thunder, I mean, with the Clippers the other day, with the Nuggets, they tie it up, great finish, and then they lose by like 10. Like they just kind of gave up. Right. So I don't think they even deserve to give that chance.
Right. No, you're right. All right, move on here. We got McAfee back.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pacers, Mavs. Mavs have not played well here. They just can't guard anybody. As we talked about at the outset, Matt, I'll let you start here. Dallas is giving 9 to Indiana, total 237.5.
This will be a fun one. A lot of running and gunning. I think we'll have probably the highest score on any of the games tonight. I think we could definitely see this thing in the 120s. So I would lean over here. And I think obviously Luka could be a triple-double threat tonight. We talked about that. Halliburton probably a shoe-in for a double-double. I think this is just fun. This is a really fun game. A lot of threes will be flying as well. So I think my first thing is just to say over. But yeah, Halliburton assists I like. I think Luka triple-double is definitely in play as well. And then I wanted to share one thing about that Kings Thunder. I know we got disconnected when I was on there. I like, and I put it out in the channel. I'll tell everybody to play now. Especially, I like this if Fox sits, and you can get it now. You can jump ahead, but even if he plays and takes 20 shots like he did on Sunday, Isaiah Joe 20 and 4 made threes, and Keegan Murray 20 and 4 made threes. That's like 34.61 on FanDuel. I didn't shop that around on other books, but that hit just on Sunday. And we obviously know it's going to be a high-paced game. Sabonis, there's value now if you jump on his triple-double or just his assists. Obviously, rebounds, they think he's going to get like 13 or 14 points are a given, but his assists right now plus money for 8. He finished with 8. And if I'm not mistaken, Fox also had 8. And Fox is one of those guys that just gets in that mode for about 5-6 minutes a game where he's just going to play high pick and roll ISO type of stuff. And I think Sabonis being a more willing passer, and the Thunder might double him if they know Fox isn't out there. So you may see a nice assist night out of Sabonis. But again, Joe 4 threes, Murray 4 threes, and 20 and 20 each. It hit on Sunday. We don't have SGA. We might not have Fox. I like it a lot.
I like that. I like that. You
Yep.
can do that on DraftKings too, right? I'm looking for it on DraftKings.
Oh yeah, you have to build it out with the SGP function. Okay. I'm not sure what the odds are on there, but all right. It's got a good value. Murray's
Brian, anything for you, Mavs Pacers before we move on?
Matt, honestly, the only thing I'm looking at, and I might get crucified for this, but I was actually looking at Tyrese Halliburton's under in points. I think the assist is such a good look, and he's probably the only one that warrants like a green matchup. Who's like the only good defender for the Mavs. So it's an 18.5. If you get to 19.5, I might look into it. But yeah, there's some times where, I mean, Halliburton has just, his field goal volume isn't crazy right now. And I just think, he might have a great 14-12 type game, but his points alone were kind of just one of those things where, despite this being like more of a track meet, it is still weirdly a pace down spot for the Pacers in terms of just how the Mavs play a lot of half court basketball. So I did look at that. I haven't locked it in yet, especially with some injury news I'm waiting on. But yeah, he might be the only guy worthwhile to get a double team or to get like a green matchup where they might try to prevent some scoring from him.
Interesting. Yeah, and I'm trying to do this on FanDuel, but I can't find on DraftKings, but I can't find the alternate for Murray. But the bank is open. Pick it, Sports Boom Fantasy. 3 games left to get those. Try to just run through these here. We're running a little late. Spurs Jazz laying 9.5. Spurs in complete tank mode. Brian, 30 seconds on this game. Anything you like?
Yep. That's the only play I have. I don't know if we have the picture or not, but I did lock in already. Keldon Johnson under 23.5 points. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been taking this like every single game. And as you mentioned, full tank mode for the Spurs, that he's just such a high volume, inefficient shooter. And he's so quick to he's got an established role on this team. They're quick to pull him if they need to. And there's always a chance that the Spurs just get run out of the gym. He only scored 18 points against the Jazz last game out. And he saw 37 minutes, which was like an outlier with his minutes. So I just don't see him seeing that much minutes again in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. There's not a ton in this thing that I find value in. I'm gonna shout out Quan here. We were talking a little bit Taylor Horn Tucker this afternoon, and his potential assists are there. You could run once they bring out some alt lines, you could run like a 5 and 5, but 6 and 6 is like plus 250 kind of range. We're talking boards and assists. I think it's pretty viable that he can get to those numbers. 5 and 5 will probably be about even money. It might be available right now on DraftKings actually, or MGM, one of those other same game parlay functions. But he's going to have the ball in his hands. You can't really trust a lot of things, but yeah, I do trust the Jazz here. And I think you look at this matchup that they just played. He ended, I think, up with only 4, if I'm not mistaken. But let me pull that up real quick. I don't want to lie to anybody. So he had 6 boards and 4 assists. But you look back at his recent game log, 7 boards, 6 assists, 7 boards, 7 assists. It's right there for him in this new role post the trade of Conley. And you got willing shooters like Markkanen and Clarkson on your team, and a bad defensive team like the Spurs. So I think it could be a nice spot for him to get that.
All right, a big game, a sneaky big game here. The Clippers off a couple bad losses. The T-Wolves just off a horrible weekend. Lost at home to the Hornets. blew a game to the Warriors. They are in danger. Even if it's a small chance, that pick they owe to Utah, even if it's a 2% chance it turns into Wembanyama if they miss the playoffs, man, that is a scary proposition for what is really going to be possibly a very lopsided trade. Not possibly, but it's really hard to sit here and talk about Clippers T-Wolves. You don't know who's going to play. Timberwolves missed a bunch of guys last game in Golden State. Clippers are always missing guys. Clippers are favored by 6.5. I don't know what to make of this game. Both teams sort of need the game. Brian, start us off here, Clippers and T-Wolves.
Well, I'll make this one quick for you. The Clippers are playing. I'm not touching the game. It's simple as that. I don't know who's playing. No, the only look I'd have in this game is kind of sucks. You missed out on it a little bit. I didn't even take it last night. They opened DraftKings opened Rudy Gobert's PR line at 24.5, and it like closed 30 minutes later, and then it's opened at a juice 25.5 or 26.5 on every single book. So that's one of those lines where whether Zubac is in or not, this is a matchup he should really bully, and he's getting more offensive touches. But I just think unless you find a good 25.5 line, I don't want to pay -140 for any prop like that.
Yeah, if it's just Plumlee tonight, Gobert should have plenty of volume in there. I think he is in a nice spot. I see 26.5 right now on FanDuel here. I don't know if I love that or not, but I do think he's in a really nice matchup here for sure. But to me, it's hard for me to not go back to Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he's just in his bag right now. His three ball is actually looking really good, which he was struggling with consistency. Obviously, a lot of leg injuries. Your three shot is tough to get that elevation, but I think 25.5 is a pretty nice number. I think you can clip that. Westbrook for me, I'll address the Westbrook thing. People, you got to know that Westbrook is not going to be in the closing rotation for Ty Lue. I want to impress upon people because I got a lot of people talking about Westbrook props and other things like that. He's not a threat from three, and he's a minus defender. So he's not going to be on the floor in the closing lineup. You need to have the spacing for George and Kawhi to work. And that's why he's not going to play a lot in the fourth quarter. So you got to be careful. If you've got certain other ways to play it, maybe play it live. Jump on your hedges early if you're going to play a triple-double and he's flirting with it, because I do think you're going to see him off the floor in the fourth quarter. You're going to, you'll see Morris out there. You'll see Mann. You'll see Gordon. All of those guys can give you better 3 and D than Westbrook can. So I would just be careful firing. I know there's the value out there today, but that was just a hot button discussion of why he didn't play the fourth against the Nugs. And obviously Plumlee was playing pretty good defense on as good as he could. Let's be realistic. I mean, he wasn't Embiid out there or something like that, but he was doing as best as he could against Jokic down the stretch. So Westbrook, I think if anything, I like his assists as a look. If I'm going to play anything, I think that 6.5 is nice. It was inflated last game at 7.5. You get it at a discount here at 6.5. I think that's a good look if you want to play Russ.
All right, final game here. Bank is open. Picket Sports, Boom Fantasy. Check that out. Warriors laying 4 against the Blazers. Another pretty good game, sort of a bubble game if you talk about like the NCAA tournament where these teams are sort of on the fringe here. These West teams all bunched together, so this is an interesting one. Just like a minute or so each on Warriors, Blazers. Matt, you can start us off.
Yeah, fun game. We'll see what happens with how these teams shoot. Obviously, we could see some fireworks tonight. A lot of threes will get chucked in this game. I'm seeing a real divide of whether people think it's a Poole game because Poole's had good, history against the Blazers, or if it's going to be a Clay game. I think both are in decent spots to have pretty explosive nights. It rarely happens for both of them in the same game, so I would be kind of nervous there. Dame is the hottest player in the league right now. Without Wiggins out there, he's going to cook again tonight. Is Peyton playing?
Not
I
sure.
don't think.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Peyton is the only like plus defender on the perimeter that the the Warriors have right now with no Wiggins out there. So
revenge game too.
Yeah.
Double revenge game. Both teams got rid of this guy.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, you know, right now, Warriors at home, I guess I would lean them. But you're telling me I can get Dame and 4 points. I think I would lean taking the Blazers and catching some points with a nice performance from Dame because with his ability to light it up, and I don't really see, a perimeter defender that could slow him down. I'm not going to fade the hottest player in the league.
Brian, take us home.
Yeah, so I mean, 1 minute or less. My one look is I mean, Matt kind of hinted at like it's tough for Poole and Clay to kind of both have fireworks the same game. I do think it's more of a Poole matchup. I actually was like looking at Klay Thompson's under. It was at 27.5, I believe. And the only reason I'm hesitant is just because when he plays at home, he like randomly just like gets a whole new level of shooting, where he just has crazy splits at home. But I'll have to see what the lineup looks like for the Blazers because the Blazers do have good defenders that can key on Klay Thompson. So that'd be my hope. But yeah, like I said, I don't usually love to wait too much about home and away splits for player props, but Klay Thompson is one of those guys that scares me to try to fade him at home. But he's also a guy that can completely go cold, and if that happens, they have guys like Poole that could take over.
Yeah. To what Brian was saying, like the steam on Poole has been hot. Like I know he opened at 23.5 and it's up to 24.5 and it may even go higher because it's like minus 122 right now. So I think there is sentiment that it could be Poole's game. You're just like he's a little bit inconsistent and he could get into foul trouble if he's got to guard Dame, and I don't know if Steve Kerr would even allow that to happen. But I don't think he can. But I do like it. And this again, high ass total. So this game could have some fireworks tonight.
Yeah, that's the other thing. His closing thought is with Clay is that I wouldn't be surprised if he catches some looks to try to limit Dame, so he could be the guy that focuses a little bit more on defense because he can be a much better defender than some other guys in the court.
All right. Well, we got through it. A bunch of games. We gave you some thoughts on all of them. Brian, Matt, awesome job. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you to Pickett Sports, Boom Fantasy, Go Boys. We'll be back Thursday. Enjoy the games and good luck.